We've covered a few hostage situations on this channel before, and they've always been pretty tense. The Gladbeck hostage crisis, where a child was killed due to the complete incompetence of the cops and the media, the René Jalbert Quebec Parliament hostage crisis, where one man with his dulcet French tones managed to talk down a crazed gunman, or even Charlie Zelenoff, where I was held hostage by my computer screen, forcing me to sit there and watch hours and hours of schizo ramblings by a clinically insane hard man. But not all hostage situations have incredibly high stakes. In fact, some hostage situations, even if they result in tragedy, can be kind of funny. like this one involving a cat. The Gresham cat hostage incident. Please leave a like and a comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm. But before we get started, this video is brought to you by Raycon. With Raycon earbuds, you can enhance your listening experience with amazing quality at half the price of other premium audio brands. The new everyday earbuds are better than ever, with an improved rubber look and feel that is both sleek and discreet, as well as including multiple optimized gel tips to provide that perfect fit for maximum comfort, sound and security, regardless of the shape or size of your ears. Raycons are now more adaptable than ever, with a built-in mic that allows you to take calls at the push of a button. They are also compatible with both Siri and Alexa, and include 3 easy-to-toggle audio profiles for you to customize your listening experience. There is also a noise isolation and awareness mode for audio transparency when you need it. They also offer 8 hours of playtime, a 32-hour battery life, and they come with 50,000 5-star reviews. I use my Raycons every day whenever I'm travelling, and sometimes when I need to shut out the noise around me so I can concentrate on work. So if you want to get some top tier earbuds while also supporting my channel, then click the link down in the description box below, or go to buyraycon.com/Dankula to get an exclusive deal of up to 15% off your order. Just so we're all on the same page, it's currently 2 in the morning. I have done nothing but record videos all day. If I come across as less than professional in this video, I don't care. The hero, as it were, of our story is Janet Marilyn Smith, born on the 9th of June 1966. She moved to Portland, Oregon with her family in 1973, where she would later attend Lincoln High School, until she dropped out in her sophomore year. She was part of the Yurok Indian tribe, which doesn't make sense because honestly, she didn't rock, she kinda sucked. After dropping out, she worked a few odd jobs, including one job in the supermarket chain Fred Meyer. Eventually, Janet moved to the city of Gresham, Oregon, to find a quieter, safer life. Little did she fucking know, with her grandmother, Mary A. Smith. The need to feel safer may have come from the fact that in 1984, she was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and she claimed she was being stalked by her ex-boyfriend. This caused her to become extremely paranoid because either A, being stalked by an ex who may or may not harbour resentment is a very nerve-wracking thing to go through, or B, she was a paranoid schizo who saw goblins in every shadow and Louis C.K. quietly wanking in every corner. Leading up to the catastrophe, Janet had called several members of her family and a few friends asking for help. Help for what? Who knows, she's a paranoid schizophrenic, although Janet did claim at some point that her grandmother was a Satan worshipper. I mean, what were the cops going to do? Arrest their boss? So we arrive at the morning of August the 21st, 1994. A morning like any other. Birds are chirping, people are going about their daily errands, and a very mentally unwell woman is standing outside her apartment complex screaming her lungs out. This is actually a very common wake-up call where I'm from, known as the Glasgow Rooster. Specifically, Janet was screaming for help, although not in relation to any specific problem. She never actually explained what she needed help with. One neighbour even came up to her and offered some help, but she just screamed at him to fuck off. Women. Eventually, Janet took off to her next stop on her world tour of Loopyland, but not without company. She brought with her her pet Siamese cat named Blue. Now, when I was reading this story, this probably set off the most red flags. Blue the Siamese cat. I can't reconcile that name. Like, yeah, some cats are that weird grey colour that people call blue for some reason. I mean, it's not, but whatever. But this was a Siamese cat. They aren't blue at all. I'm sorry, I've no idea why it bothers me so much. That aside, the destination of her grand voyage through delusion was the Fred Mayer store at 2497 East Burnside Road, and there she went with a poorly named cat in one hand and a 6-inch knife in the other. Some sources say it was a carving knife, others say it was a folding knife. Sources vary, but either way, it was a pointy bit of metal that made everyone nervous. She arrived at the shop around 1 PM, screaming like a fucking banshee, and that must have dried out her throat because she said she was thirsty and then took a stroll down aisle 7. She then grabbed a can of President's Choice lemon and lime soda, the only beverage for feline hostage takers and true patriots. And she drank it in the shop without paying while smoking a cigarette. Now, I can excuse animal endangerment, but I draw the line at petty soda theft and flagrant disregard for Oregon fire codes. Her conscience must have weighed heavily on her after committing the soft drink heist of the past hour, because she began screaming, "Please help me, call the police." But oddly enough, none of these store patrons were panicking or even fazed by this behaviour. After all, it is Oregon. After tuckering herself out with her caterwauling, she slumped down on the floor next to the soda cooler. And then the store workers just blockaded the fucking aisle with shopping carts and called the police. Not empty the store because, you know, there was a crazy woman with a knife. They just stuck some council cars around her and thought, nah, it'll be fine. Then, around 1:10 PM, 5 police officers dropped their donuts and got themselves over to the scene. They flanked either side of the blockaded aisle and asked Janet to drop the knife. Janet responded, like any good insane person would, by threatening to kill the cat. This set the police officers on edge because, as we all know, the police are only okay with killing dogs on their operations. But cats? Unacceptable. This was a very tense situation. 9 lives were on the line. But then Janet stood up to yell at the police, and the cat just walked off. it just, you know what cats are like. You know, the thing just, it fucked off, it left. You know, it just went, it's got things to do. It just fucked off and left the situation. The hostage had saved itself, and now the threat level was decreased from crazy cat lady to just crazy lady. She began walking down the aisle to the back of the store, still holding the knife. Since she was approaching police with a deadly weapon and not obeying commands, the police felt it necessary to open fire. But this was Oregon, not Texas. So the bullets didn't have to start flying just yet. They first attempted to stop her by spraying her in the face with 3 full cans of mace. This predictably angered Janet. Now, I don't know what kind of crazy lets you do what Janet did, because personally, if I had 3 full cans of pepper spray unloaded directly into my eyeballs, I think I would probably be out for the count. But Janet, like the fucking T-1000, just kept coming, picking up the pace and raising the knife in an attack position above her head like an 80s slasher film. This may not have been Texas, but it was still the United States. So, this act of aggression was enough to make Officer Ron Willis yell, "Oh, say, can you see?" and put 2 hot ones right in her chest. Janet was pronounced dead at the scene, with the autopsy later giving cause of death as bleeding out due to gunshot wounds to the chest. A coroner's job really isn't that hard when you think about it. The local community were outraged at this shooting, feeling that the whole situation could have been avoided and there was no way that guns should have been fired, with Janet's grandmother commenting in an interview to the Oregonian, "I don't know why they had to shoot her, she wouldn't harm a fly." Not a fly, but a cat. And a witness to the shooting, Ken Williams, stated, "They maced her first, you cannot see when you are maced, so where is the threat?" I can understand this line of thinking coming from Ken, and it's tragic that the shooting had to occur, obviously. But I doubt that Ken would like being locked in a cage with a blind lion going berserk and swinging its claws wildly. Just because she isn't accurate doesn't mean she's not a threat. The case of the shooting went all the way up to the Multnomah County Grand Jury, where Officer Ron Willis was cleared of all charges after only 5 minutes of deliberation. But you all don't care about that. I know exactly what you care about. What happened to the cat? In all the chaos, where did our pretty kitty slink off to? Well, animal control were called to the scene, and they couldn't find it. The cat was never found. Like ever. The cat was just never seen or heard from ever again. The thing just thought, nah, fuck this, I'm out, and that was it was gone. No one ever saw or found the cat again. The cat had escaped death. Seriously, the new Puss in Boots has no business being as good as it is. This guy is the coolest villain that DreamWorks have ever came up with. But anyway, given how this incident happened in 1994, which is, about 30 years ago, the cat's dead. At a private funeral, Janet was buried at Skyline Memorial Gardens in Portland. But on the subject of graves, I've got a little bit of a tangent here that made my writer spiral a little bit. This is the picture that I used for Janet earlier. This was the only picture of Janet that I could find, but I can't actually truly verify if this is Janet. The source for this image is an enigmatic figure, a shadow in cyberspace, a man known simply as Doug. Doug is a user on the website findagrave.com, and he uploaded this picture of Janet to the entry of her grave. But that entry was created by another user called Melanie Rowlands on the 16th of April in the year 2000, 6 years after Janet's death. The photo also came with a caption, and I quote, "It's been 10 years since you were murdered by the Gresham, Oregon police. I think about you every day and I wish I had been there for you." Doug then must have edited the caption in 2016, with an added section reading, "It was 20 years ago today, I still miss you as much as ever." But edits on this website don't show up as edits, and the last piece of genuine activity on Doug's account that we could find and verify was in 2009, 7 years before the 20th anniversary of the shooting. So he could just be LARPing, or he's just really, really bad at reading calendars. But Doug has updated many random grave pages from all over the place on this website and leaving little eulogies on them when he clearly doesn't even know the person. And he's been doing this for a very, very long time. But he mysteriously stopped in 2016. I don't know, this was just a really fucking weird thing we found while researching this video. Who the fuck is Doug? Anyway, this is the image that we have of Janet, unverifiable as it is, so this is a bit of an appeal. If anyone has any verifiable images of Janet, or another image of this woman so we actually know who the fuck she is, then please let us know. Also, if Doug could come forward, that would be great. I would like an explanation of why you were updating a bunch of random graves all over this really old website for people that you don't know. It's kinda weird, man. Regardless of all of that Doug nonsense, this is a bit of a tragic story. A woman who obviously needed help was struck down in her prime because she had a bit more loops than fruit that morning. And an innocent cat was traumatised. A local community catatonic with shock. Cat-related castigation followed the catastrophe, and the officer responsible escaped conviction by a whisker. It's not a subject to be kidding around with, and police will still take pause when someone isn't feeling their best. I'm sorry.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody just subscribe.